Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another YouTube live on the Analogue Wonderland channel. I'm Paul Mackay, and today I am joined by a wonderful guest who I will bring in straight away. I am joined by Holly Gilman. Holly, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
It is lovely to have you here. You did have plans to be broadcasting from a dark room, but what happened?
So my dark room is actually next door to my kids' bedroom, and this is about the time when they're going to sleep. So I just thought we'll either hear screaming in the background or they'll be coming in to join us. So I thought I'd better do it downstairs instead.
I think there is definitely an opportunity for kids of film photographers channel at some point. But yes,
Yeah.
maybe not this time. Well,
No.
thank you so much for joining me. I did like the fact that you checked with me whether you were a drop in for somebody else who had pulled out, and I said no. I genuinely do leave it very late before planning. So no, I am absolutely thrilled to have you on because your name is just popping up all over the place at the moment. As I look around the film photography UK internet, and we're going to spend a bit of time as usual talking through all the projects you've got and how did you get into film and all of that kind of fun stuff. And then we'll also obviously do the judging for the Analogue WonderBox photo competition
Yes.
for April. So I put on the holding page at School of Holly. So I think that's
Yeah.
probably where it would be good to start.
How that name came about.
Exactly. Well, actually, no. Sod that. I'm going to take that back entirely. Holly, tell us about your journey into film photography. Where did it start? What was your first camera? All of the usuals.
Okay, so I didn't actually know I was into photography. I didn't think I was creative at all at school. I was always pushed towards academic stuff. And so it was only when I finished sixth form and I went into work that I really realized that I liked photography. I got my first DSLR. And that was because of my best friend, who her dad is a photographer, and she'd sort of like taken it on. And we just like going out together on day trips and things and taking pictures. Um, and that sort of progressed, but not too rapidly. Like I really liked photography, but I think looking back, there was always something missing. And then my dad gave me his old Pentax Me Super, which was broken. He'd unfortunately put it in the loft with a battery in it, so that had completely ruined it. But about a year later, literally, it sat with me for a year. I was like, "Oh no, let's try and get this working, see if it works." I got some Ilford HP5, took it to my father-in-law, and he helped me get the battery case off and get it cleaned up and get a new one put in. And I shot that first roll of film, and I mean, it was like, click, that was it. Like, this is what I want to do. Um, and so I think I went into that phase that everyone goes into where it was like, I've got to get cameras, lots of cameras, try different cameras. And I think even before.
Hang on. A phase would suggest that there's an end to it.
Yeah, well, I think I thought I was through it, but obviously, clearly from my last video on Instagram, I'm not. So, but yeah, no, I went through that. I've got loads of cameras. Some work, some don't. Whatever was cheap on eBay, I was like, yeah, let's
Mm,
try it. And I think that was a good thing because I tried a £12 Canon EOS 600 that was actually amazing. Like, it was one of my favorite cameras. But unfortunately, I got a roll back that had, the half black frames where the shutter grease
mm,
had gotten in the way. Yeah, so that died an unnatural death, and but that led me down the EOS film route
yeah.
because I had an EOS DSLR, so they felt very intuitive, and like they took all my lenses, so they were quite nice. Um, but yeah, so trying out all sorts of different cameras, and then when I got pregnant with my first child. In early 2017, I had all these romantic visions of documenting their childhood on film, and I planned which camera I was going to take to the hospital with me to have my child, which films I would be using that would, push well. No.
No.
Traumatic
Oh.
traumatic birth, it did not happen. And I basically barely touched my cameras from then until last summer. Just the haze of motherhood and like being so engrossed in my children. I think I'm quite an obsessive person,
Mm.
and I think that's probably quite clear from all the stuff I've been doing lately. Like when I get on something, I am on it, and I think that's what I did with motherhood. Like I started learning about educational philosophies and childhood development, and yeah, all of this stuff. And then the pandemic hit, and it really just sort of brought to light the fact that I didn't have anything that was me anymore. Like I was just
Mm.
mum. And while that's, being a mum is not a bad thing, of course, I still needed something that was different. Like all day with the kids, I was then in the evening making Play-Doh for the next day or whatever, rather than doing something for me. And that's what I needed. And that was what sort of brought me back to my film cameras. And I, picked one up. I got out for, I don't know, like an hour to shoot a roll of film. And it was just amazing. And I could feel that fire burning up again,
Mm.
which was just amazing. But um, at that time, I also started doing weekly Skype calls with my best friend, who was the one who got me into photography. And I was also doing other things, like I was learning about world history and art history, and yeah, I'm just interested in so many things.
And just to be clear, in case people missed it, Holly has 2 children
Yeah.
under the age of 4. So don't think this is one child in 2017 and now she has all this time. Oh no.
No.
I am in awe. Okay, yes.
Yeah, so with her, I was chatting it through, and we decided I was going to do a learning log because I'd had one before when I was doing a photography course, and she always enjoyed reading along. So I basically set up this WordPress site just to do my learning log for her. She is like the inspiration behind all of it. Um, and I started doing these, like analyzing the role posts, and I think that's what Shroyon from 35mmc saw, and he reached out to me and said, "Oh, would you be interested in writing for 35mmc?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, that would be amazing! Oh my god!" And yeah, one thing led to another, and now I'm on the 35mmc team with him. So it's all happened pretty quickly. But when I came back to photography this time, I was determined. I was like, I'm gonna really learn. I'm gonna properly learn how to meter. I'm gonna understand my cameras. I'm not gonna race through cameras. I'm gonna really take like 4 cameras and really learn
Yep,
them.
sure. Yep.
Yeah, so that didn't really last that long, but that's sort of where it started, and that's why I was doing the analyzing the roll post, because I was really trying to scrutinize my rolls of film, which I think was a fantastic habit, and I think it has massively improved my image taking. But the reason I joined the 35mmc team was really because I realized that one of the things I really love about this is the community around it.
Mm.
I'm never going to be the best photographer. I know that. I don't think I take too bad a photo, but I think I'm never going to be the best, and that's not what my quality is. Like
Mm.
I like bringing people together. I like interacting with people, and yeah, in some of these Facebook groups, there are absolute idiots, but um, putting it nicely.
Yes, exactly.
But
That's one word for them. Yes.
but then there's also all this nice stuff, like interacting with you guys, and all the people that I've been working with on 35mmc, all the people I've worked with for this book. Like it's just been so amazing. And I think that's sort of since Christmas, that's the direction I've really pushed in with my photography. It's more about the network and the community around it. Yeah.
That's. I mean, that's amazing. I this is the first time we've spoken face to face, but we've had
Mm.
lots of chats, sort of over email or over social media. I mean, you've written one of the latest blogs about black and white film development that went live, I think, end of last week, in line with
Mm.
your YouTube. Which I might quickly, if I have the ability, quickly pull that up and show people. Yeah, there we go. So, yes, posted 6 days ago, talking through all of this, and what I really enjoyed reading about it, and then as we went back and forwards, and Emma, who obviously helped as well, the amount of research and thinking you've pulled together really comprehensively, but also you kept saying, but I think you say it here, a disclaimer, I'm not an expert, I'm not a scientist, I'm just enthusiastic about sharing knowledge. And that really came through, because it was like you felt like you were acting as a conduit for everything that was
Mm.
out there, just repackaged into an easy way that people can then digest and take it forwards.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, and this is why the Facebook group, the Making Photographic Practices More Sustainable group, came about. And that is a very long-winded title. And the reason is I didn't want to call it like ecological photography or sustainable photography, because that's not the point. The point is not to be amazing. The point is, let's think about what we're doing and how can we make little improvements or big improvements. How can we be inspired by what others are doing, just to improve our own practice in whatever way is possible for us. So that's why it's got such a long title, because I just felt like, what is the truth of this? Um, and and so that blog post that I wrote for you, credit goes to all the people who contributed on those discussion posts that I set, they sent through links, they sent through information, they sent through recipes. And I really sort of collated that and did a bit of my own research, just to make sure that I was comfortable that what I was pulling together was accurate. But yeah, the fact of the matter is that at the moment, at this point in time, there is not a lot of information out there, and it's not very easily digestible. So, I mean, I was flitting between websites trying to work
Mm,
things out. Um, no one seems to have, say, a page that's like, this is our environmental report. This is
mm,
our transparency report. And I think that's kind of something in the back of my mind that I want to push. How can we work with these brands and these big commercial suppliers to say, just have like some transparency around
mm.
it. Like, I'm not asking you to reveal your recipes, I'm not asking you to divulge your secrets. Just be transparent about where you're getting your stuff from. What's your supply chain? What are you doing? What are your goals in terms of the environment? Because I think it is a really important subject at the moment. So
No, definitely, and this follows on really nicely from Ed and Hannah, who judged last month, who I know that you talked to as well,
yeah.
and they referenced your group, because I think it's exactly that. Transparency is always the first step, um, and
Yeah, and I'm going to say Ed's essays and things were pretty much the inspiration behind the Facebook group I used. So I run two Facebook groups, and I used a quote from one of his essays in my photography books and theory groups, our weekly discussion prompt. And that was where people started saying, why isn't there a place where we can discuss
mm,
this? And that was sort of the inspiration behind it. But yeah, so I have been chatting with them, and that was the other thing that I really want to make sure people are aware of. I didn't know how to edit, like I went back and forth on the wording, but obviously what they're doing is like the extreme end. Like, they are
yes,
really on the front lines of research. They are doing amazing things. I am not capable of doing that sort of thing. Like, I'm not in a position to go off. I think Hannah mentioned on the Photo Scene podcast when she was interviewed that she's going off to some remote island off Finland to do research. And I was like, that is amazing, but I'm not in a position to do anything like that. And so, what is it that I can do to make a
children, feed
difference?
yourself for a couple of months. We'll be.
Exactly. Like, and so what I feel like where my value is trying to bring some of what they're doing, like learning from them, but making it accessible
Mm,
to people who may be a bit scared and overwhelmed by attempting to change it. Like, I know as I was coming back to it, I was thinking, oh, I really love photography, but I'm, oh, should I be using these chemicals? Oh, what are these film brands like? And so I want to sort of try and help ease those fears for others, I think.
I think that's absolutely brilliant. I think it's a horrible marketing term, but it's the one that keeps coming to my mind as you're talking is conscious consumerism, where it's
Yeah,
that.
well, this is it. It's I think a lot of it is more about behavior.
Mm,
And I'm working on a video for my YouTube channel. Gosh, I'm so crazy everywhere. So anyway, so I'm working on a video for my YouTube channel that is about. I wanted to look into the different film stocks, but specifically at the moment the black and white ones, and sort of which brands might be better than others. And as with everything that I'm doing, it is not as simple as which brands are doing the best. Like, a lot of it is more about your behavior as the consumer than what these brands are doing. Yeah, so I won't give away too much from
That's
that
a
video.
lovely teaser, though. I love it. We've
Yeah.
got a sneak preview.
But yeah, so yeah, it's yeah, very much your behavior.
I mean, I think, and this is what I mean by I've seen your name popping up in a few different arenas, and I think there'll be a few of these moments throughout the video. But one thing that I'd definitely recommend folks who are watching on do is join that group, because even when you wrote the blog for us, um, myself and Emma on my team were debating whether we insert the PDFs sort of as
Mm,
downloads, and actually they're saying, well, hang on a minute, they're meant to be live ongoing documents.
yeah,
So if
yeah.
Holly, we don't want to put one on there and then they're out of date when you update. We'll do sort
Mm.
of a snapshot in time of today, but that Facebook group is where the conversations, where the updated documents will be. That's a really good starting place. Would you mind me asking? You said you were pushed more towards an academic place in school and through. So what would you say your professional career side is?
Very disjointed. So no, school I did languages and science. I haven't touched my languages since school. Basically, I did them because I was good at them, but I
Yeah.
didn't enjoy them. And I hate to say that because we live in a very global world, but um, no, I don't enjoy learning languages, but I was just very good at them. And so when I left school, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I think that was because I wasn't really allowed to explore my interests. I suppose this circles back to why my thing is called School of Holly. It's because the idea that we are lifelong learners. We can continue to learn. We can make our own curriculums. Like we can,
Mm.
that's the point of the name behind my brand. But no, for work I do. So I am a global mobility tax advisor. Yeah. So, but I mean, I don't know whether to say this. I'm on. So when I came back from my last maternity leave to work, which was in October, so I was still on maternity leave till October. Um, I The workplace had changed quite a lot. So obviously, I'm benefiting from the fact that everyone works virtually now.
Mm-hmm.
So where before I used to work from home, but I was very much alienated from my team. Now I'm so ingrained in it. But there's also all these initiatives now coming up. Like we have something called Colour Brave, which is where people can sign up to be allies to people of colour, and we run discussion spaces where people can talk about issues of race in the workplace, which makes it sound like there's actual like abuse going on in the workplace. There isn't. It's more about the sort of microaggressions and raising awareness of what people are going through. Um, but then we've also got one for um, to align people out in the wider workforce, because it's an enormous company, with the corporate sustainability team. And so
Mm.
I've joined onto the Green Champions, and through that I've just heard about a new opportunity which I feel more aligns with my values. So I have just sort of kind of interviewed for it. So
Ah,
we'll see. We'll see
well,
if I can now start to say that my job more aligns with my values as a human being.
well. I mean, best of luck. I hope it does go well for
Well, this
sure.
is this is how I fund my photography. So until people want to pay me to create content, I've got to do something. So.
Well, here we go. School of Holly. Let's segue on nicely in case there are any billionaire sponsors listening, because no, it's fascinating, and I loved listening to that. So thank you, because the way that you are approaching this is very impressive. I think, and I can
Really?
see an organised mind. I recognise it in as an opposite to my own. So I'm very glad that you're here and helping us. So let's then talk about. There's a couple of things I want to make sure we definitely cover. The Facebook group and all of that side was 100% one.
Mm,
I also want to let's bring in the YouTube. So we've talked about it a couple of times. School of Holly, given a bit of an insight into what it's called and why. And we have 3 videos. So this launched last week. So if you
mhm.
guys want to be on the very starting, before Holly goes viral, are you allowed to say that with coronavirus now? It seems a bit more of a
Yeah.
negative thing than it used to. Before
Mm.
Holly goes viral in a good way, get in at the start, early subscriber. Would you like to tell us a little bit about what you'd like to achieve with the YouTube channel in particular. What
Mm.
kind of videos are you thinking of doing?
Yeah, so obviously there is an underlying theme of sustainability, and I think when I first started working on it, first started conceptualizing the channel, it was going to be very much sustainability focused. But then as we started to create the videos and like write, do the little storyboarding, work out what it was that we wanted to do in each video, it sort of pivoted a little bit. And so there's always going to be this sustainability undercurrent, but really I wanted something that was going to be light-hearted. And I hope that in some bits I might make someone laugh, but um, I feel quite inspired by the accounts like Grainy Days, Ribsy on doing film
Yeah.
things, that I loved on one of your early videos, and there was like you, Ribsy and Marina doing your funny intro. Like that is
Okay.
the sort of thing. Like the just make fun of yourself and have a good time. And we live in a time of such high stress that I just think that that's more what I want to bring, whilst also always being mindful. And I think that again sort of aligns with what I'm trying to achieve in that, I'm not trying to make radical changes to people's lives, but at the underneath it all, we can think about what we're doing.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And also at the same time, one of the first ones that I've seen has already got the most views is setting up the home darkroom. So it's
Yeah.
strategically placed next to your children's bedrooms, but
Well, so now this is a story in itself. So this was a big thing when I was talking through with my therapist about finding something for me. And that room, so that was originally the nursery. So my kids were going to have two separate rooms. And then we decided, well, actually, no, we think they'd actually prefer to be in the same room because they want the company. They're that young. And so that room was going to be like a second playroom. But my kids, they have a playroom, they have a bedroom, and so it was like this big act of self-kindness, like
uh,
this is going to be my room, this is going to be my hobby room, and I'm just as important as anyone else in this house. And yeah, so actually, yeah, there's a bigger story behind it, a bigger emotional thing behind
no,
it. But yeah,
no, that's lovely. I think everyone has
my
their
husband has
own.
his garage.
They're well, exactly. And Ribsy,
I've got my
I love
dark
all the
room.
Ribsy ones when he's like sat on his toilet with the lid, well, not sat on his toilet, like
Yeah,
sat on the toilet lid, like
yeah,
printing over the bath. Like every time now someone says to me, I don't have the space to print at home,
yeah.
I'm like, right, Ribsy, give him a shout.
Yeah, exactly. With his mop bucket, I think that's brilliant.
Exactly. That I
Brilliant
mean,
reusing that.
that is incredibly committed. But no,
Yeah.
I think anyone who can create their own space and is lucky enough to be able to, also then having the opportunity and, as you say, making it for your own, especially within a family, it's a wonderful thing. So, how have you found it so far? So, when did it go? When did you cut the ribbon on the dark room?
So, I have to admit, I haven't actually used it as a darkroom yet. I have just used it to do my film developing, but that is because the bulb that I have for the enlarger doesn't work. So, so I need to change it, and it's just a matter of me getting around to changing the bulb.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll give you a couple more days before we get on your back. No, that's fine.
Yeah, I've
And
just
we've
been working on a few too many things lately to organise little bits like
maybe
that.
perhaps. And I've noticed, very modern art background to your
Yeah.
office as well.
Yes, we discussed this. Yeah, so people often mistake this for some sort of statement when, but they're just it's blank IKEA frames because I want to fill them with my own prints. So there's one that's filled with a digital film print, but yeah, the other ones are blank. But yeah, I get a lot of comments at work because obviously this is the view that people
Yes.
have of me at work. Yeah, they think, and also these ones with the shoes. This is going back to when I was like, I don't know if you can see it because
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
centralized, am I? If I do
No. Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Ah. So that was when I was sort of 14, 15, and that sort of thing really appealed to me. Those ones are going to have prints in as well, but I thought I'd just leave the old ones in till I get actually prints done.
Again, I'm so impressed. The number of prints I have that haven't been framed or hung, and you're framing and hanging the spaces where prints will be.
Yeah.
That's I'm in awe.
Wishful,
Um,
wishful thinking, I think.
so you're working on a sort of do you have with the YouTube channel a sort of an overarching idea of several things you're going to build up towards, or is it a few just different ideas, projects you're playing with at the same time?
So this is the thing, like I was so nervous about it and I didn't really want to put myself on video. Um, and
She said on a YouTube live.
yeah, yeah. And well, yeah, like it just really made me so nervous. But then we started brainstorming ideas, and we realized that actually we've got ideas that can take us up to the end of the year, as long as I can find the time to film them. But yeah, no, loads of ideas, and as I say, like we just have such a laugh putting the scripts together, and um, yeah, we've got some that are going to be hopefully very comical. But to be honest, my marker of success is whether me and Eve laugh. Like that's enough. But yeah, the hope is that they're going to be light-hearted. I'm quite inspired by the ones where they just manage to skate over all the seriousness and all the, this is my perfect lens, and this is,
Hmm.
oh, look how fine the grain is. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
doesn't just
no, no,
doesn't
no.
do
I'm,
it for
I'm, I'm
me.
with you there, and I've also noticed as well you got a fantastic level of output on Instagram Reels and the IGTV. Like you have dove into this video thing. You are.
It just seems to me that I've just sort of done everything at once. So I decided to challenge myself to 5 days of Instagram reels. So I like purposefully was like, right, I'm going to do one every day, which is why they're so similar. They're all about me developing, pretty much. But that I couldn't believe how many views I got on those. But I won't always be putting out that much. It was just that I was like, right, I'm going to challenge myself, and it ended up, I think, serendipitous. But obviously, I did that the week before I launched the YouTube channel, so I
Mm.
did really sort of inadvertently start getting my name out there just in time to launch a YouTube
Strategic
channel.
marketing once more. Absolutely,
Yeah, yeah,
100%.
exact. Purposeful. I did it on purpose,
Exactly,
clearly. Yeah.
very strategic. And I saw you were having a lot of fun with 110.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
by a
So
lot of fun, I mean terrible luck.
I was given a 110 camera from my uncle. He gave me a bag of that he'd had in his loft, and it had a
Those
110 camera
days.
in it, and I was like, oh, I've got to try this. Um, got a roll of film from you guys, put it in there, started trying to take pictures. I was like, the shutter isn't firing. Okay, so I then went and bought myself I joined the 110 Facebook group, and bought one of the most recommended cameras in there off eBay. Didn't work. So I then went and bought, I'd been toying with the idea of the Pentax 110 because everyone raves about that one. Um, and I was like, oh, but they're, if you buy the full kit, they're like £70. Oh, yeah. But in the end, I found one. I think I paid £40, and I was like, okay, right. Um, Seems to work absolutely fine. Put my roll of film through it, and that was the one from the reel with the blank.
Oh,
I don't actually know what's wrong with it. I need to think about it. I just need a moment to sit and think.
yeah.
But then, of course, after I posted that reel, um, Peggy from Camera Go Camera reached out and she said, I've got one I don't want anymore. And she does a lot of camera swaps. Like she'll often
Mm,
swap film for new cameras, or vice
yeah.
versa if she wants to try something new. So she sent me one, and she said all she wants in return is a few of my old 110 cartridges so she can have a go at respooling her own film. Where I was like,
Ooh.
win for me. So I've shot a roll of film through that. I haven't developed it yet.
Respooling
Um,
110, that's tough.
and then I've got the one from you, which I
Oh,
showed on my Instagram
snap!
one.
That's one of.
Yeah. But I've just sort of realised today, like I was out today shooting with it, and I thought, I wonder how many times I've forgotten to take the lens cap off. It even says it in the little instruction book. Like, if you get blank frames, you've probably forgotten to
I
take the lens cap off.
literally binned mine because I realised. Well, the lenses are interchangeable. So worst comes to worst, I buy another lens. But the risk reward, the risk of
Yeah.
me damaging a small plastic lens that's pretty robust versus just leaving it on was just ridiculous. So yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, I just sort of got that. Oh, how many times have I left it on? So I might be fine. I might not have done it at all, but
yeah. My wife,
equally.
my wife took this to a
Oh,
she
look,
took
we've
it
even
away.
got Snap on the film inside. You've got the red one. I've got the red one.
Oh,
Tiger.
nice. There we go. We'll do it. We'll have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife took this one to a lovely weekend away in where was it? somewhere in Europe before the virus, and came back having left it on bulb mode the entire time.
Nice artsy blurred
Exactly.
scenes
Well,
there.
what was brilliant
Lovely.
was you could see what the photo probably was of each time. It's like, oh, I bet that was a really lovely cathedral. She's like, it
Yeah.
was. Oh, I bet that was a really nice photo of your friend having a. Is it yeah, by a canal? Oh, well, never mind. By the way, I think also we found you have a new number one fan. Martin Jones has said, Holly, you are a natural on video. Thumbs up, which I think was
Ah,
there,
thank you.
and then followed it up with and a 110 fan as well. It gets better.
There we
So,
go.
Martin, I hope
Well,
you've now
not a 110
subscribed.
fan yet until I get a good roll of film.
Holly can promise you lots of natural videos and 110 content, I'm sure. That is wonderful. So yes, again, please join the Facebook group and please do subscribe and follow on. Let's do follow on Instagram as well. Let's bring that up because this is where your marketing. Oh, there we go. Look, there's the 110 camera. Oh, there's the lens cap on. There's the intro. Oh, there's a little Pentax. I love it. You've got some Washi F. You found some Shanghai.
Oh, Washi F. Wow. I've just converted those last night. I love that. The glow. Can't wait to share those images.
It's special, isn't it? It is special. Yeah. There's a lovely film stash. Look at that. So yes. So again, that is.
And again, I think my Instagram feed shows that I'm not so fussed on a perfectly curated photographic profile. It's more about having fun and
again, you're
the
talking my language.
community and things.
The one I always look at and just get sort of like Instagram envy over is PPP repairs.
Yeah.
Where all of his photos are on the same blue on-brand backdrop, with artfully placed and then you look at the grid and it's just gorgeous. And I'm like, I've just put a photo of my face up because I was having this chat about. The other thing
I'm so sorry. I can hear my kid crying outside the door. I wonder where
No, that's
gone.
fine.
Okay, please, I'm really sorry.
I will happily ad lib. And also take any questions. Let me have a quick look. I think a lot of people are talking about the 110. The Pentax 110 actually. I have heard a lot of things. Marina in the past has definitely tried to sell me on that one. It's Martin's saying it's great, but it's limited because it's so auto. So yeah, anyone in the comments, wade in on the 110 chat because I think it's definitely one that splits people. Personally, I love the fact that they're so portable. Like, I mean, this isn't the most compact one because the lens sticks out, but I've got ones that the traditional, the fold into a little, basically pocket-sized one. All good, Holly? All good?
Yeah. No, he'd woken up needing a wee.
Ah, well, we've all been there.
My husband had gone into his garage, into his hobby room.
Not the time, husband.
No.
No, that's absolutely fine. I was chatting about 110 and I've just seen a request to sing as a song. So fortunately you're back before I launch into my karaoke playlist. And the other thing I want to just quickly pick up on as well, you messaged me this the other day, was funny film photography hashtag. You were also looking at funny things you wanted to see.
Yeah, so yeah, I at the end of my videos, I really want to share images from the community of just. Sorry, I feel really out of breath now.
No, don't worry.
Running up the stairs.
Don't worry.
Yeah, need to get out on my bike more, don't I? I love those photos that just come together and they're just, comical. And at the end of the YouTube video that's gone up today, I have shared one of mine from a holiday in Croatia. And then I've already got the next one from a guy called Neil, who's just one of those photos where he's just perfectly timed it. Like something has happened and he's just got it.
So this isn't about like memes. These aren't like memes. These are just funny photos.
Yeah, like whether you meant them to be, whether they're staged, whatever. If they're funny,
I can already think of a couple from my collection that
will
never be prints, but could be hashtagged.
I was watching the one with Hamish, the judging with Hamish, and there's a funny dog one on there where the dog is like, like that is the sort of thing, like just and obviously it's going to be me judging whether they're funny enough to be included.
Yeah,
So
and also that's the thing about film. Like on your phone, you'd probably just delete some of those straight away. But with
yeah.
film, you've invested, and if
Yeah.
it's on portrait, you're keeping that. That's £1 worth of photo. That is.
In fact, I think the photo that I've shared today is Portra 400.
There we go. High quality for humour. And then the final thing I wanted to make sure we covered
Yeah.
was the book.
Yes,
So
yes.
this article popped up. I think I saw it on Twitter first, but I'm just going to again show folks who haven't seen it yet. On 35mmc, Photography Through the Pandemic, 35mmc's first book written by Holly Gilman. So talk us through this. So again, this is on 35mmc, so if you want to find it, then straightforward there. But you give us the story, the lowdown on it.
Yeah, so obviously I've just told you at the beginning of this about my coming back to photography during the pandemic. So I knew what my story was, I knew how much it had meant to me. But I was curious what other people's experiences were. You see in all areas of life, there are those who perhaps don't have kids and they've, been on furlough, and so they've had, all this endless time. What have they done with that time? Or people like me who do have kids, and, how have they channeled their photography? Have they been able to? Have they just been completely creatively devoid? Have they just not been able to do anything? And I wanted to sort of bring those stories together. And at the time that I was creating it, I hadn't seen anyone else working on anything like that. Obviously, I have now seen a few things popping up, but in fact, one of them I reference in my introduction, which is the Analogue Cafe. Dimitri, I've got his one now. I even quote it in my introduction because one of his things is just brilliant. But yeah, so it was originally going to be a zine. I'd spoken to Hamish and said we should do some zines, not like a regular magazine, but one-off things that just complement what's on the website. Nothing I don't mean to take stuff directly from the website and put it into a magazine, but something that just feels like it fits nicely in a published actual physical copy rather than on the screen.
Yeah.
And so yeah, over Christmas he just sort of said, yeah, go for it, run with it. Yeah.
Classic Hamish, yep.
Yeah. Over Christmas, I just started reaching out to people who had written on the website and had in some way referenced COVID. Whether it was indirectly or whether they had explicitly been talking about their experience, and just seeing who was interested. And one of those people was Marcus Hofstadter, and he runs an online gallery called United Art Gallery. I don't know if that will become a physical gallery or whether it will always be online, but one of their themes, they because they have a few, but one of their areas is the pandemic and documenting whether it's your experience of the pandemic or whether it's you staging images. And so he then sort of gave me a list of all the people who worked within Analogue, whether film or alternative process, who were being featured on there for me to reach out to. And so I reached out to those, and we just sort of had this list that was just getting longer and longer, of these people that were interested, and everyone was submitting really good stuff. So it wasn't even like I could go, well, that doesn't really fit, or so
We have actually had a comment, sorry, Beverly Nelson has written
she's in
saying,
it.
yay, I'm in
Yeah.
it. Yes, there we go. So here we go, one of the watchers, yeah.
Yeah. So well, this is the next thing that I think is really important, is that when we got to sort of submission date, and I will say this wasn't an open call, I did literally, these two groups of people were where I asked for submission. And we got to submission day, which was the 31st of January, and I realized we just did not have a very diverse base representation in there. So we had people from all over the world, but there wasn't very many women, there wasn't very many people of color, who specifically people of color who are living in sort of majorly white areas. So people who are affected by the Black Lives Matter protests, people of Asian descent who are perhaps facing issues with prejudice because of COVID originating in China, all of these sorts of things, or people from the LGBTQ space as well. Like I just felt like, clearly people could be LGBTQ and I just don't know about it from their stories, but I wanted to make sure that we were representing everyone. And so I then started to, so I reached out in the UK film photography group to see if we had anyone who wanted to come forward. I reached out within the female film photography groups.
Mm.
And then I found some specific hashtags on Instagram, Black film photographers and queer film photographers, where I then went through and I thought, okay, let's see if I can find anyone who looks quite good in terms of the quality of their photography,
Yeah.
and reached out to a few people. And it was very nerve-wracking because I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want anyone to think this is tokenism. And I mentioned earlier, I'm part of the Colour Brave team at work, and we have like a monthly check-in. And I brought this up and just said, do you think I went about this the right way in how I've messaged people? And I got to discuss it there and really sort of draw out why I felt the way I did. And so that was really nice. And so what we've ended up with is a book that I am so proud of in terms of it meeting my values to be an inclusive book. Like it's not just I know this is going to turn some people off, but it's not just a book of middle-aged white men.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that some people get so offended and so defensive about that, but it was really important to me to make sure that these people who perhaps, it's questioning, okay, so I have gone through 35 mmc, but why is it that those people are all men, or they're majorly men? And it's not 35 mmc's fault. It's perhaps that we need to extend that invitation. And so that's what I did.
No, and
um
and I think yeah,
yeah
that approach makes sense to me. That someone's asked a question. Catherine's asked, "What about disabled photographers?"
so not quite so strongly. I didn't go specifically after anyone, but I have had this discussion, and there are some people who are differently abled in the book. So there's one woman who talks about how she had to take pictures from her car. That was the only way she could go out and take photographs. And yeah, there are people with disabilities, but it's perhaps not quite so mentioned, I
Mm-hmm.
suppose. But yeah,
Well, and also I
definitely
think the other
a
thing, I
thought
don't know.
process for me.
I mean, I'm hearing all this new as well, which is lovely, very interesting. I suppose as well, you don't want to be trying to solve all of the world's problems with one book. Like the idea is hopefully that this is, as you say, something that becomes an ongoing feature. You will learn, and regardless of one issue or another, across a 5-year period or whatever, you can look back and say everyone has the chance, everyone is in there, and that's a fantastic dissection of the film photography community. So I know that I got a bit confused about this and have now corrected it. Because I thought it was about to appear on Kickstarter, but there's a step before Kickstarter, isn't there?
Yeah. So we've done a pre-launch. We've published the article, and what we're trying to do is gauge interest, and we need people to sign up with their emails to find out when the Kickstarter launches, because that will help us to work out when is the right time to launch and to know that we're actually going to get what we need. If because we are literally selling these books through the Kickstarter, and that will be at this point the only publication there. You won't be able to buy it after the fact. So we want to make sure that when we do launch the Kickstarter, we at least meet our minimum. And our minimum is to sell 250, because that's how we will break even.
Yeah.
So that's what the point of the news article and asking for people's emails is, essentially.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So the advice then I'd say, let's bring it back. So for folks for whom this sounds interesting, then find this article on, oh, there we go, it's gone. Photography through the pandemic, and then go down, and I've now done it, so hopefully it won't be asking me to do it again. But it'll be saying, there we go, sign up. So here you will have pop your email in and sign up, and they're looking for 250 people.
Yeah.
And going from there. Also, by the way, we've had a couple of nice comments as well coming in on the what you were just saying. So Stephen's saying it's about raising awareness, which is what has been done, and people asking questions, which is great.
Mm.
And I think that's the conversation and the self awareness and consciousness. I think is always the most important thing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a saying that we're the most self-aware generation or something.
I'm sure our children will mock us for even daring to assume that in 30
Well,
years' time.
certainly my parents
Well,
think I overthink things.
this is possibly quite true. Okay,
Yeah.
that is fantastic. Thank you so much. So, uh, oh, we've got one technical question that we'll do very quickly while I prepare the judging part. Dylan has asked, could I develop 110 with a Patterson tank?
Yes. I have. So I will admit I got my husband to do it, but I do think you could do it if you're a woman. But um, so I had so I specifically purchased some Kaiser reels to go in my Patterson tank because the Santa Ray film is so thin and I needed something that was going to help me feed it in. But that meant that I had two standard Patterson reels that I rarely use. So one of them I have in case I do two lots of 35 at the same time, but one of them is just not being used. So there is a really fantastic like how-to guide. Uh, I tell you what, when this goes live, I will post it in the comments or something.
Mm.
I can't think what the thing is called now. But yeah, that's I just used an online tutorial on doing it. Well, okay, I gave it to my husband.
Okay, so Dylan, the official advice is yes, it can be done. Anyone can do it. The unofficial advice is yes, speak to Holly's husband. It will
Yeah.
become a very niche sub business of just taking mail order and loading 110 and sending it back.
Yeah.
Um, okay then, thank you very much. We will give people the chance to write questions or reflections. Martin Jones has weighed in and said, as a middle-aged man, white man, I'm not offended.
Good.
Exactly, that could have gone two ways. You
Yeah.
mentioned earlier you want to get away from the focus on hardware geekery, very male, and in his view, that's a great thing. Thumbs up. Thank you
Cheers.
so much, Martin. I'm loving the comments, and thank you all for engaging, for sure. So yeah, feel free to throw thoughts, questions. We'll come back to Holly and wrap that up, and we'll also do a summary of everything else that we've said. But now we're going to move on to the judging. Now, one of the things I
Yes.
really, really enjoy about the judging each month is the fact that obviously I totally plan this one in advance by at least 2 days. We get very different judges each time. I very deliberately don't say give any guidance on what I'm looking for because I think the whole point of the WonderBox is that people are just exploring, trying things out, and it's not about a perfect photo. It's about finding, improving your photography and enjoying the films that you have in there. So Holly is bringing no bias from me. She is bringing just Holly's view on what she really, really enjoyed. And we're going to go into it. So there's, as usual, there's some special mentions, which Holly just picked out, really enjoyed. Again, I've had no input there. There's a lucky dip winner, which is machine chosen, that randomly picks an entrance from this month.
Oh, is it? I didn't realize it was a machine picked one because that
Yeah,
was one of the
exactly.
ones that was on my like short list for
Well,
being
we
special
haven't had that so
mention.
far, but I'm sure at some point we will get a special mention that's also a lucky dip. But no, it's the idea here is that regardless of who the judge is, regardless of what's going on, if you enter, you have a chance to win. And then, of course, there is also a grand winner, and the lucky dip and the grand winner will both get prizes. So let's get straight into it. So, School of Hollies, special mentions. So, number one, first up, we have this gorgeous photo by Jonathan Mock. So, what did you enjoy about this one?
So this one I liked because it really made me linger because it just draws you in like that couple sat in the window and you think, is that a real couple? And you know, you have to sit and really look at it and think, oh no, that's a picture. And I just really like the different layers in it. So while perhaps it's not what one would, you know, if you were reading a composition book, it perhaps wouldn't be, um, you know, it wouldn't be technically perfect. It's just it yeah, it just draws you in and it makes you want to stay on that and look and see what's going on. And I think that's the good thing about street photography. Like I'm not a street photographer, but that's the sort of thing that I like about street photography.
Yeah, and I think everything that you've said, I think makes it very compelling. The other thing that I really enjoy is just there's just lots of figures in interesting poses. So even the
Yeah.
top right, you have the stop sign. The man just stood. You've got the very dramatic ballet. The couple that are they real? The man on the bike, the man walking. There's just a lot of figures. Yes, I think street. Absolutely wonderful. So huge congratulations, Jonathan, for special mention and thank you. And oh, by the way, I didn't give you any information to help you with this, so this is going to be putting you on the spot. Which film do you think was used?
That's really tough
It's not Portrait.
because,
I'll give you that as a freebie.
well, thank you for that. Yeah. Um, See, I'm one of these that black and white is black and white most of the time. Yeah.
Right, we need
So
to get you on the Wonder
I did
Box.
do
We'll
an
teach you.
article on 35 MMC where I compared a few and did my thoughts on them. But I mean, I'm gonna say it's a 100 speed because it's quite fine grain. It looks. Sorry, I'm looking down because I've got it down.
No, that's
That's
fine.
why, just in case anyone's
I
wondering
just thought
why
you were
I'm
just
sort of like
just
peering.
meditating on the photo.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's either a 100 speed or something that's been brought down to a 100 speed.
You're spot on. It's Delta 100.
Yes, there we go. One I've not
Wow, that
shot
was
before.
impressive because not many people go for the speed first. But yeah, there we go. Absolutely spot on. Congratulations, Jonathan. Lovely photo. We move on to Hunter Scott, who has appeared a few times. In fact, I think they might have been a winner, maybe not last week. I think it might have been last month, actually, Hunter Scott. So there we go. Hunter Scott popping up again. What did you enjoy about this?
So I mean, this is clearly a first off the roll film, which can be a bit of a cliche, but sometimes when it works, it just works. And this has just come together. And this, so anyone who does follow me will know that I'm quite an experimental photographer. Like I've dabbled with film souping, like I do expired film. And so this sort of thing where you just go, let's just see, and then something great comes, that is right up my street. Like I love that. So whilst it wasn't like number one for me, this really sort of encapsulates why I like photography.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, in fairness, Hunter has, I think, embraced everything about that. His title of the photograph, first of the roll, and he said in his "What does he like about this?" It's got to be the luckiest first of the roll I
Yeah.
will ever take.
Yes, there you go. Yeah. Well done, Hunter.
Exactly. No, beautifully lined up. I'm going to say. Do you want to take a stab at which film?
Oof. See, the problem is I don't know what films you have
I
in.
know. This has made
I
it even
mean,
difficult. I mean, I will say there is a clue in the color shading.
does that mean sinister or something?
There we go. Yeah, nailed it. Yeah, so that's the halation. That's the
I was really surprised because I watched Ribsy's video on where he compared 800 Sinister 800T and um is it Kodak 500T or something?
yes, yeah.
And like he's going, "Oh, I'm not going to tell you which it is." And I was like, "It's the one with the red bits. It's the one with the red bits." And I was right.
Exactly. No. So that's obviously the emulsion that it's based
Yeah.
upon.
Again, not a film I've shot, but I have just got some from you because I'm
Oh, thank
thinking
you.
about trying it for my friend's wedding. If that goes
Ooh,
ahead. I mean, who knows if it's
yes.
even going to go ahead, but yeah, I've just got some to see. Not seen anyone do a wedding on.
No, I
Might be a
think I think
reason
it's
for that.
fantastic, and yeah, we did a video on it last week because this is the WonderBox cycle, um, but no, definitely it's the halation and it's the sinister that gives you the red. Dylan said it's like the city's been birthed from the flames. Exactly. So this goes back to when we said this in
Yeah.
the video. The halation comes from light bouncing basically within the film and creating these
Mm.
effects around bright sources. There's nothing brighter than the first roll, which is just exposed to daylight.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's travelled through the film up a little bit to giving you that incredible effect. So I look forward to everyone now trying deliberate flame-based first the roll on Cinestill.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing. Okay, thank you so much, and well done, Hunter. Another mention. Here we go. Another street photograph, dare I say. Harvey Agnew. What
So
drew your
this
eye?
one, I mean, I right up until we went live, I was considering saying this one should be first. This one should be the grand winner because this is so good. But the first thing that jumped out at me when I saw it was it reminded me of what's his name? Rene and the Ministry of Health. I don't know if people will be able to see
Yep,
it.
yep. I've got it on. I've got you on full size now. So yep, you're there.
Yeah, so this is from my Magnum contact sheets, and it just immediately reminded me of these. Um, just say his name right, Holly. Come on, what is it? It's
You're the language student.
Rene Burry.
There we go.
Sorry. Yeah, and that's what it reminded me of. But then obviously that made me linger more, and I just thought that I mean I love a contrasty black and white.
Mhm.
That I just love it. I'm not a muted person. The range of tones are just the composition. Like if this were a panel of judges, if we were all separately judging, this would be the winner. And I feel really bad that I haven't made it the winner. But as we've said before, like this is so subjective, and I'll explain why the winner is the winner later. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, this one is so good, and the person is just very unlucky that it was me judging this week.
Oh no, that's fair. So Harvey has written. It's taken on ADOC's HR50. Yep, which is a slow film, very sharp, beautiful contrast. And what they've said is really like about this photo is the contrast and the balance between the people. I took another photo of the people at the table that didn't have the others walking through the reflected light,
Yeah,
and it was a
yeah.
fairly dull photo.
I think he did submit it because I did see that one.
I'm not sure I even
I'm amazed
remember.
that he managed to get the people walking that sharp on a 50 speed film.
It's incredible. I mean, it must have been a bright day, but it's the yeah.
And to get all that shadow detail. Like obviously there's some shadow that's blocked out, but I mean that is incredible.
This is this. I say this every month. There's some photos that you immediately just want to take into a darkroom and try and do a print of, and this is
Exactly. Yeah.
100%
And
one.
and this is why I was like, oh God, should I have made this the winner? Because it's so
don't
technically
don't
perfect.
no
But
self doubt. We're moving on. We're moving on.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it is
move
a
on, move on.
fantastic photo though. Really lovely work, Harvey. Okie dokes. Next, Lawrence Arnold. Another fantastic composition.
Yeah, I mean, whether this was an accident or on purpose, this is just
Oh, sorry. By the way,
brilliant.
sorry to interrupt. Harvey is watching along. Says, "Wow, thank you so much, Holly." So there we go. Just to make you feel
Sorry, I didn't
extra
make you the
guilty,
winner.
Harvey is watching you not pick him as a winner. So
um, yeah. So sorry, Lawrence Arnold and
Lawrence,
his
yes.
draping leaves. Yeah, I just again, this is the sort of thing I would take. That like I love going in close and throwing everything out of focus, but this I just love how he's
Mm.
framed that circle in the middle. And as I say, whether that was an accident or whether that was intentional, that is just lovely.
It's amazing detail. I mean, you can also see as well from the other leaves. It's not just the composition; it's the focus. Look how fast the focus drops off. So the aperture size must be absolutely huge. So the focal plane
Yeah.
is tiny. So it's the position of the circle around the edge of the branch, but also the fact that the branch is there. You've not blown out highlights or shadows.
And if you tell me this is a low speed film, then my mind will be blown if
Okay,
he's
let's
managed
let's
to do
have a
that
look. Sorry, let's
handheld.
have a look. Lomo Lady Grey. So no, not
No,
crazy.
400. Okay.
Okay.
Isn't that secretly FOMA 400 or something?
How dare you? We could never confirm nor deny, as the Mography say to me. But if you develop it, you will notice it comes out green from the developer on a totally separate point. So
Oh,
there we go.
really?
Um,
Hmm.
and then actually again, in terms of owning the photo, title in the spotlight, and
Oh, so maybe it was intentional, or oh no, the title could have
well,
come
what do you
afterwards.
like about this
Oh,
photo? All they've put really simple that I nailed the framing. Absolutely.
okay. Well done.
We will give
Yeah,
you 100% marks for honesty and for uh, self confidence of owning
yeah.
that because
And I
yes,
mean, the thing is, like, I was talking to someone who's in the book. So nice plug for the book here. But I was talking to someone who's in the book who loves doing this sort of like almost like macro photography. I mean, this is not perhaps macro, but and she was saying that what she really loves is it really makes her control her breathing. Like it's like a proper meditative practice because she has to really start to think about her breath so that she doesn't jog. And I think that's what this makes me think of as well, that this person probably had to, really start to think about the
Mm.
composition, like to get that so perfect, like had to really quiet his mind. And I just think that's lovely.
So Lawrence is also watching. He says he promises it's on purpose. Lawrence, we're with you. We're absolutely with
Yeah.
you. It was with a 50mm 1.4 lens, probably around f4. Wow. Okay.
Oh,
Then that's really impressive. Yeah, absolutely lovely. Although, Lawrence, I don't know whether you can confirm or deny that the other 35 photos on this roll were having just missed the composition. But no,
no,
I'm
there was a couple submitted, but this was the
oh,
standout,
okay.
wasn't
No,
it?
I'm
So
being me. This is an absolutely fantastic photo, and this is one as well from um, not even in the dark. This is one that you'd want to print and put on the wall because I think
yeah,
everyone who'd see it would stop and look
yeah,
and
exactly.
just be drawn in. Okay, and the final special mention, Chris Lockyer.
Has this been cropped down on this that you've shared? I feel like it was square. No, it can't have been because
Mm.
it's 35mm. I feel like we're wider out. But anyway, I really this one I find really hard to describe as to why I've chosen it, but there is just something about it. I think this was taken on a really wide angle lens, like not quite fisheye, but on the very widest end of something, because there's a level of distortion to the image that made it stand out to me. But it's so subtle at the same time. Obviously, it's lomography, purple chrome, or whatever it's called.
Yes, exactly.
Um, but yeah, like there is like an element to this that's more than just the lomochrome in it. Like,
No, the reason I'm pausing, sorry, is I'm listening. It's because the background to this story is there we go, is that this was the winner, or Chris was the winner for a very similar photo, the same bench. And I know you won't be able to see this, Holly, but for the viewers, I'll just quickly screen share and show this. There we go, look at that. So this was the winner in January. And what we talked about at the time was how amazingly interesting it would be for Chris to return to the same place throughout the seasons, because in that one in particular, that tree in the middle, really dark, really desolate looking, empty,
ah,
lifeless. It was a beautiful, crisp, clear photo, and we said how interesting it would be to come back in the different seasons and choose different films to bring it to life and see every time. So Chris has
how
done it, and
funny
actually
then.
overlaying it, he's nailed the composition once more, and you can see the start of life, and the choice of purple
Yeah,
makes it look even more colourful and spring-like
yeah.
than before. So
And
there we
now that
go.
I'm looking at it again, there's that beautiful track off to the left-hand side into the trees that just makes you think, what's down there?
Yeah,
I
and
love
this
I
is
I,
it.
I love a good track going into trees.
Oh, so I'll
Yeah.
tell you. So I'll make sure I send you the image afterwards, because it was even more that side, the element, the composition, the lines, the crispness was
Mm.
even clearer on the first one. And then I love this, the colour. So Bruce says he needs to do a bench photo book. Martin Jones says bench, 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 which I think is an excellent point. Absolutely. Yes. So the screen share, the black and white one, that's the original, the one that won back in January, and then this is independently picked. But clearly that is a place
Yeah,
to.
I would be really interested. I don't know if Chris is watching, but I'd be really interested to know if that was a wide angle and I'd got that right. But there is something about that further than the lomochrome, like there is something that feels off about it, like in the right way.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
No, definitely. Well, I think he is at Lamelad on Instagram, so we'll make sure message him afterwards. I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
He'll be able to get in touch and let you know the Cameron film. But I'm really excited now because we said this and how much we'd love to see a series. We've now got two. I'm really excited to see the rest of the submissions across. Okay, and let's do a round of applause. There we go for everyone there. We move on to the lucky dip. So this is one that, as I said, machine chosen from all the entries. and we have someone new, and I love this one. it was
It's really nice.
it was submitted. I think it was 50 megabytes submitted, so it took my computer a while to process it. So when someone puts up a TIFF scan, I think the detail is incredible. And here we go, by Dylan Vieira, who I know we've seen. Congratulations to Dylan. Well, hang on a minute. There we go. An air horn. Congratulations, Dylan. I love this photo. I mean, again, as I say, this is machine picked, but I absolutely love
Yeah.
it. Did you come across it in your judging? Did
Yeah,
you?
I now can't remember whether I said this before the live started or whether I've said it since the live started, but this was on my shortlist.
Oh
This
no, you
was
haven't said that. So
when I was going through and I said before, I was like, oh, this is easy, yeah, like this one and this one and this one, and then I realized I got like 8 images that I wanted to be in my special announcement ones, but yeah, this was one of them that unfortunately got knocked off.
So there we go. So you were so close to being a
Yeah.
special mention, Dylan, but actually you've made it into lucky dip winner as well. So congratulations. I'm just gonna have a look. Care to guess the film?
Ooh. Again, I'm not brilliant at this, but I'm gonna say Portrait.
Then Kodak will be very pleased. It's Color Plus.
Is it?
Color Plus. And also you said you're not very good at this, but you've been pretty damn close every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Color Plus, and let me just go
Well,
to what
Kodak
Dylan.
Gold is one of my favorites. I haven't shot it enough. I think like the one roll that I've shot of it was just my favorite, and I've just ordered 3 more from you.
Thank you very much. I'll have to look back and find.
This is me trying not to be consumerist.
It's fine as long as you're supporting small independent businesses that are also on this
Precisely.
call.
Yeah.
Then it's totally allowed. So what Dylan says about this one. Oh, there we go. Thanks. Yes, Dylan says thanks, machine, and Tiff for the win. So Dylan likes about Color Plus, says give it lots of natural light, which is actually next week. Color Plus, the video will come out. It won't come out on Monday because the bank holiday, but I filmed it earlier today, and light came up a lot. What does he like about this photo? It sounds basic, but I love willows.
Yeah.
That's fine. If they look like this, then that is legitimate. And actually, in fairness, Lawrence's first comment was, ooh, willows. So you're not the only one.
Yeah.
Oh, also, Chris has joined the chat. So here we go. Are you ready for your answer? It was a 30 mil, so it was wide angle. 30 mil f2.8 lens.
Not as wide as I thought. I thought we were going to be talking like 24 or something, but yeah, okay.
There we go. So it's definitely that fantastic. Yeah, because the distortion isn't so extreme. You start to see the trees bend, but very lovely done. So there we go. So huge congratulations, Dylan. A lovely photo. I love the colours. I just love the colours.
Yeah.
And it feels so nice seeing photos like this. We were doing the judging 2 months ago, and it's dark.
Yeah, like how did you get this? I suppose we're coming out, aren't we? The blossom is starting.
Okay then, and if we're ready for the grand prize. Now I don't really have any noises that like drum rolls. I'm gonna do a triangle. That's underwhelming in the extreme. Grand prize winner. So Holly, here we go. Miles Myerscough Harris at Miles MH on Instagram. It is a dog photo. What did you enjoy about this photo?
So I mean, you probably can't do it, but if you could, like putting that with the one I said I was debating making the winner. Like they are so different, aren't they? Like miles apart. So this one just sums up what I like about photography. And I mean, I don't know whether these defects are intentional or whether they're light leaks. There's this element that's in focus, and somehow this light leak looks like it goes under the flowers, and this is just
I wonder if it's a reflection. Is the dog behind a window?
Yeah, that's probably it. Like, but this is
Exposure?
what I love. Like, I just love this sort of thing where you're not quite sure what's going on. Is it, is it a light leak? Is it reflections? Is it, yeah. And it's just the experimental nature in me, I think, that is drawn to images like this. This is the sort of thing where if I took it, I'd be like, yes. I mean, clearly, the one of the people on the chairs. Yeah, I'd have loved to have taken that one, but yeah, I wanted to make this one the winner because this because I'm the judge and this is so like me. And it's a dog, and I love pictures of dogs.
That is, well, again, Snappy Mole has said, "Got to love dogs."
Yeah.
So yes, the
So
subject matter is important, and no, that is a wonderful, wonderful reason. So as you say, unashamedly, a different day, a different judge might have chosen differently, but this is the Holly winner, and that's what it's about. And I agree,
yeah.
because also, while you can say yes, there's artifacts, yes, there's differences, the fundamentals, the composition, the tone range across it, the fact that you've
Mm,
got this, the catchlight in the dog's eyes,
yeah.
the faces in focus, the detail, the grain in the shadows. There's a lot here to love. It's not artifact for the sake of it, or like
Yeah.
this is also a really lovely photo. No, I would be thrilled. In fairness, you're right. I'd be thrilled to have taken any of these photos, but this one is really beautiful. Let's have a look at.
I do notice though that this one is square format, so this one has been cropped down, hasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
I didn't recognize that when I was doing it, but now obviously now thinking, oh, everything's 35 millimeter. Maybe I'm a real lover of the 6x6.
This is it. We found it. So never mind the 110. You need to go the other way. 120.
Well, I do. I've got my Mamiya and my Pentacon, so
Okay,
yeah,
good. There we are.
yeah.
That's safe. Let's
I'm
have a
not
look. So
deprived or anything.
Ilford Delta 100, lovely, easy to use film for any application with decent lighting. Brilliant. Okay, so no, we are no clearer as to whether that is a reflection, whether that is a light leak, but it's a lovely photo regardless. So, round of applause. Well done to everybody. Thank you so much. And Holly, thank you so much for taking the time to choose those. And
Thank
it's
you.
a wonderful selection. And I think you're right. I should think about this more. I might go back and have a look at this actually, and think about that. The fact that the choices are reflective of the personality and the um,
Yeah.
photographic
Well,
approach.
when I was watching Hamish's one, it just brought back so many of those articles that he's written about what images he cares about, and it was just everything. Like it just matched so well. Yeah.
Yes. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much. So I didn't see any specific questions coming through, but I'm sure that anyone who has any more thoughts or questions or would like to get in touch, follow on Instagram at School of Holly, subscribe on YouTube, School of Holly.
Yeah, although I will say anyone with a nervous disposition should perhaps not watch my Anth type video that just went up.
You did say it, and it's titled Not a How To, I think, which again.
Yeah.
Well, this is it. I mean, I don't know whether you saw the one reel I've done recently, which was an absolute disaster. And I
That
had
was
so many
really good,
people,
yeah.
just laughing at me, which is
Yeah.
totally legitimate, and B,
So
saying,
relatable.
exactly, isn't this the point? And I'm like, yes. And I never pretend to be a good film photographer.
No, just love it. That's all.
Exactly. That is not my skill set. I am a professional retailer with film photography as a
Yeah,
hobby.
yeah.
Very much that way round. So, but no, honestly, thank you so much. So please do, everyone who's watching, get in touch with Holly, follow, and make sure. I have a sneaking suspicion we are going to see lots and lots more of your work continue to grow. I mean, if this is what you've been able to do in the last year, then I am amazed. I really, really hope the book happens.
Me
So
too.
again,
Yeah.
if this appeals to the guy, anyone who's watching, please do go and badger Hamish to make sure he does it. I think it's a fantastic idea, and even the photos that you have in there and the people who are involved, I know it's going to be a coffee table book for the generation. So really wonderful, and thank you so much for joining at short notice.
Thank you.
Entirely due down to my disorganisation, but you've been absolutely wonderful. For somebody who says that they were nervous about videos not very long ago, you appear to have gotten over that very fast, and an absolute natural, as somebody said. So thank you so much. Everyone is making very, very lovely comments in the on the YouTube as well. So
Oh, that's nice. Well, it always helps when you've got a good interviewer, doesn't it? To put you at ease.
yeah, but he's not available, so it's me instead. Is there anything you would like to leave us with over and above the shameless pitch that I've made on your behalf?
No, I think you've done a pretty good job there.
Oh, and the Facebook
Um,
groups as well. If the sustainability thing is of
yeah.
interest, then that's a great
Um,
place to start. Wonderful.
yeah.
One
I
of the
just want to say that I might not be able to keep up this level of content production forever.
Well, we'll enjoy it.
This has been a particular month.
We'll enjoy it while we can.
Yeah.
And yes, exactly. And if any of us see that you're getting interested in something else that might take your time, we'll just we'll nudge you back somehow. I don't
Yeah.
know, because I think
Oh, I think the main thing I want to say is
Mm.
get sharing your funny photographs with the hashtag funny film photography, because I just really want some funny photos.
That's perfect. And yes, and it will, and they have a chance of being featured in your videos as well.
Yes.
There we go. Wonderful. We will leave it there. Have a wonderful rest of the evening. Thanks to everyone who's watched. So the winners will get emails from me. I'd like to say tomorrow. It may be next week. Apologies if so, but I will get in touch with you and we'll get you some lovely prizes to enjoy. And then we roll on. So next week we are talking about Colour Plus. The video won't go live on Monday because it's the bank holiday, but it will be there later in the week. And we're into a new month of photography. Bruce has said, and I totally agree, looking forward to more photos of that bench from Chris, seeing how the bench gets on through the year. I can't wait for it to have its own Twitter page and Instagram profile. And yes, we will be back before too long. Thanks so much, everyone.